first part of epic Rail Odyssey begins with a Singapore Airlines flight into Moscow, where we stay for 3 nights. We then take the Trans-Aral train for the 39-hour, 2,300-kilometre journey across the Kazakh steppes into the town of Aralsk, close to the Aral Sea. After 2 nights here, we travel to Almaty via the astonishing Baikonur space station. Any season, at any hour of the day, Moscow is a truly thrilling experience. This is a city that in every way is a dichotomy. It's Asia, it's Europe, it's ill-mannered and it's sophisticated, it's ancient and it's modern. During our 3 nights here, we see all of the major sites, including Red Square, the Armory, Lenin's Mausoleum, and of course, the Bolshoi Theatre. Yet Moscow has reinvented itself, and there are so many new sites, such as Chivapeshny Bridge and the Mercury Tower. And of course, travel directors' special angles and surprises. We still have time to see the most efficient metro in the world. It moves 8 million people a day. It's evening when we leave Moscow for our first train journey. This is Kazanskiy Station, one of 9 in Moscow. When we wake up the next morning, we are in southern Russia, some 8 hours from the border with Kazakhstan. Built between 1900 and 1906, the 2,300-kilometre Trans-Aral is a vital artery between Russia and Central Asia. For Tsar Nicholas II, this link was a means to control and dominate this vast region. The train is clean and comfortable, and we use 2-berth cabins on all of the trains throughout the journey. As we near the border, we start to see classic steppe vegetation. Russian and Kazakh immigration in the afternoon is a simple process and is completed on board the train. It takes around 3 hours. The Trans-Aral usually consists of 21 carriages, and a dining car is placed in the centre. It is open 15 hours a day, and these days the menu is rather large. As we near the Aral Sea, the vast Kazakh steppe becomes drier as it slowly turns into desert, and by sunset we are 3 hours away from our destination, Aralsk, near the Aral Sea. Aralsk Station, 1,400 kilometres from Almaty. It is one of the most remote settlements on the planet. We will stay here for 2 nights. This is a hotel we use. It's new, clean and cosy. Prior to this hotel being built, there was nowhere in Aralsk that travel directors' groups could stay. The town of Aralsk used to sit directly on the Aral Sea. The sea was rich in fish, and the fishing industry thrived up until the mid-1960s. Then, 2 rivers that fed the sea were diverted to support a cotton industry. By 2000, the sea had retreated 60 kilometres from the town with high salinity. The fishing industry collapsed. Aralsk shipyard used to employ 40,000 workers, and it supplied 1/6 of the Soviet Union's entire fish catch. This is what remains of it today. After our visit to the town, we head out to the Aral Sea. In 2005, in a bid to save the Aral Sea, the Kazakhs built the Kokoral Dam, and now the waters are rising rapidly. The fish are coming back, and so are the fishermen. In fact, the Aral Sea is now only 20 kilometers from the town, and predictions are that in 2 years, the shipyard will be working again. Before we head back to town, we are treated to a barbecue on the shores of the Aral Sea, courtesy of our hard-working Kazakh team. Early this morning, we leave for Almaty, commercial hub of Kazakhstan. Firstly, we drive for 3 hours to Baikonur, the first and largest operational space facility in the world. Far more than just a launch pad, Baikonur is a city where scientists and engineers live. It is leased by Russia and jointly administered with Kazakhstan. Baikonur has been defined by 2 world-changing events. The first was the launch of the world's first satellite, Sputnik 1, in 1957, and the second was 12 April 1961. Yuri Gagarin was 27 when he became the first man into space. Vostok 1 took Gagarin 326 kilometers into space for 108 minutes. Gagarin lived in Baikonur along with brilliant rocket scientist Sergei Kolorev, and these are their houses. This cosmodrome has been mankind's gateway into the cosmos since 1955. Travel directors' visit here is one of our most extraordinary anywhere. After lunch in Baikonur, we depart by train to Almaty. The 1400 kilometer journey will take 24 hours. We arrive at Almaty station in the afternoon for 2 full nights, and we are greeted with the stunning backdrop of the Tian Shan Mountains. Behind these formidable mountains is China. Almaty is a city of green parks and pedestrian spaces. It is beautiful in all seasons. On our first full day here, we explore Pamphilov Park, where Zenkoth Cathedral is situated, as well as the monuments to the Great Patriotic War and the Eternal Flame. In the afternoon, we take a cable car for a superb panoramic view of the city and the mountains. On our last day in Kazakhstan, we head out across flat steppe to the truly spectacular Charin Canyon. This moonscape has been carved out over millions of years by the speedy Charin River. It's a great walk down to the canyon floor, where we have lunch before our cars take us back to the city. We leave Kazakhstan for Urumqi in China, where we stay for 2 nights. We then take a bullet train to Langzhou for an overnight transit, before catching the train next morning to Cooming for a stay of 2 nights. Almaty Station, early in the morning. The 1,363 kilometers to Urumqi will take us 26 hours. The train will cross through the Horgus Pass in the Tian Shan Mountains to reach the border of Alashenko by the evening. Just after lunch the next day, the train pulls into Urumqi, capital of Xinjiang. Urumqi is unique in the country because this is where Islam meets China, and it is situated along the ancient Silk Road. The Muslims here are Uyghurs, and their language is widely spoken, especially in the bazaar that we visit. Urumqi is a very modern city, but this old area of the city is a melting pot of Han Chinese, Uyghurs, Kazakhs, and even Russians. But one thing that unites them all as they descend on the night market is Uyghur ice cream, the best in the country. The Uyghur people love to sing and dance, and these impromptu performances are common, especially in the Old Quarter. As much as Urumqi is a compelling tapestry, its location to the East Tian Shan Mountains make it breathtaking. This morning we ascend to nearly 2,000 meters to visit a beautiful area in the Tian Shan. Heavenly Lake is 90 minutes from Urumqi. A pristine blue, this lake is 5 square kilometers, and its surface is shaped like a half moon. The lake is surrounded by forest valleys, which lead down from the mountain peaks that reach 3,500 meters. It's a wonderfully relaxing day as we have a picnic by the lake shore. We leave Urumqi the next morning by bullet train for Langzhou, where we change after an overnight for the train to Cooming. Business class is very comfortable for our 3,500 kilometer journey to Cooming. The train will reach speeds of over 300 kilometers an hour, and as this experimental coin shows, the track is incredibly smooth. When we reach Cooming this morning, we will have covered 3,500 kilometers. Green Lake, the centre of Cooming City, and right opposite our hotel, where we will stay for 2 nights. On our first day here, we visit the Cooming World Horticultural Expo, which displays 30 gardens from regions all over China and 25 international enclosures. It's spread over an astonishing area of nearly 4 square kilometers. The theme of the gardens is that human beings are interrelated with nature in a harmonious way. A Perhaps the most famous attraction in Yunnan province lies just outside of Cooming. The stone forest is around 270 million years old. The karst topography covers an area of 400 square kilometers. It was once a seabed until the waters dramatically retreated. These rock formations have been known since the Ming Dynasty as the first wonder of the world. The stone forest is regarded in China as a vast stone art treasure. For the next part of the adventure, we use our bus for the 4.5-hour journey on superb highways to the Vietnamese border at Hiko. The border crossing over the Red River is easy, and we reach Hanoi by late afternoon. After 3 nights in the beautiful Vietnamese capital, we board the historic Reunification Express for the 1,700 kilometers 30-hour journey to Ho Chi Minh City, where we stay for 3 nights. Hanoi, 6 o'clock in the evening, and we arrive at Hotel de l'Opera in the very heart of the city. From this fantastic location, we can walk to the Old Quarter, the Opera House, and Hoan Kiem Lake, and 3 nights in this beautiful boutique hotel allows us to see Hanoi with ease. This morning we visit Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum. Uncle Ho's body is preserved in a glass case. Modelled on Lenin's mausoleum in Red Square, the atmosphere is one of extraordinary reverence. The area around Hoan Kiem Lake is a park with temples and relaxation platforms. It is also where Hanoi's pedestrian street is located, and a stroll around here provides a fascinating insight into Hanoi today. We also visit the French Quarter near our hotel. Indochina is unique because of this heritage, and Hanoi's extensive French architecture has been beautifully restored. On our visit to the Old Quarter in the afternoon, we see one of the most unusual streets in the world. Narrow anyway, 2 trains, twice a day, pass through the high street, within millimetres of residents' homes. We leave Train Street, and our rickshaws take us through the Old Quarter's maze of alleyways. At night, this area comes alive, and it's an atmospheric place for our evening meal. It's 9 o'clock in the morning, Gar Hanoi Station, and we board train SE5, the Reunification Express, to Ho Chi Minh City. The train will arrive tomorrow afternoon after some 22 scheduled stops. Our first class cabins are very comfortable for the overnight journey. The scenic journey skirts mountains, rice fields, and the sea coast before pulling into Ho Chi Minh City. We stay at the Caravel Hotel, 5-star, right in the heart of the city. During the Vietnam War, journalists rubbed shoulders with spies and soldiers at the rooftop bar. In this surreal world, they would watch mortar battles as they sipped on the cocktails, and from this vantage point, they photographed the evacuation on the 29th of April 1975 from the US Embassy 2 blocks away. These days, Vietnamese have moved on from the war, and our visit to the Patekco Tower helps us to understand why. From the 68th floor, 360 vision reveals an amazing skyline, where cutting-edge skyscrapers mix with parks and traditional dwellings. It's a dynamic energy. We also see some of the city's most graceful architecture, such as the Saigon Post Office, still in operation today. And nearby, we see the Notre Dame Cathedral and the Opera House, all in mint condition. Glittering boutiques and stylish coffee shops are evidence of the economic boom. Yet these sit next door to the Ben Thang traditional market in District 1. It is absolutely authentic Vietnamese and one of Saigon's oldest landmarks. Our visit to the Reunification Palace is like entering a time capsule that transports the visitor back to 1975, when North Vietnamese tank 843 crashed through the gates here on the 30th of April. It signalled the end of the war. The helipad on top of the roof was used for the very last evacuation of staff. The most interesting of all is the basement, where there is a communication centre, war room, and a labyrinth of tunnels. Our 3 nights in Ho Chi Minh give us plenty of time to see the marvellous botanical gardens and the Cu Chi tunnels just outside of the city. For the final section of the tour, we leave Ho Chi Minh City for a 5-hour journey to Phnom Penh, Cambodia. After a night here, we continue to Siem Reap, where the great temples of Angkor Wat are located, for 2 nights. The final drive takes us across the Thai border and on to Bangkok for the last 2 nights of the tour. When we get to Siem Reap, we stay at the beautiful colonial hotel of Victoria Angkor, a 5-star luxury oasis in the heart of the city. It's dawn at Angkor Wat, the abode of the gods, the ultimate expression of Khmer genius, and one of the most iconic temple cities of the world. One of the 7 wonders of the world, Angkor Wat was built around 900 years ago, and construction of the vast temple complex took 30 years. Sandstone blocks, quarried 50 kilometers away, were floated down the river on rafts. It is estimated that 3,000 workers and 6,000 elephants provided the labour. At its peak, the city was home to nearly 1 million people that occupied Angkor Wat and the other 1,000 temples in the greater region. Some of these nearby temples, like Angkor Thom, are being reclaimed by nature, and wandering through these gives an impression of stumbling across a lost civilization. The final leg of the journey to Bangkok will take 10 hours by our coach. Epic Rail Odyssey is the ultimate adventure that stretches 11,000 kilometers across the face of the earth, traversing 6 incredibly diverse countries. It is Travel Director's most thrilling rail journey to date.